been with my wife for 4 years. I have a 19-year-old stepdaughter. She suffered a lot during her parents' divorce and she hasn't gotten therapy. Till I came into the picture, that's when I noticed how depressed she was. She used to yell and argue all the time. She was harsh and hostile towards me. But that changed when I started fixing her problems one by one. And it turned out she needed healing and being heard and understood. We now have one of the few best relationships I have in my life. I appreciate the efforts she's made to be who she is today. She told me and her mom that she was going to get married to her boyfriend who she knew from high school. Her mom got mad at her for wanting to get married at this age and while in college. Even though my wife got married for the first time at a young age and had rough times trying to make a living and raising a kid. She lashed out at her daughter telling her to drop it, but my stepdaughter called her selfish and controlling, and that she shouldn't try to enforce her opinions on her and decide when she should get married. Her mom gave her an ultimatum and said she'd disown her if she went through with her decision. My stepdaughter stopped talking to her ever since, and my wife said that from now on, she doesn't have a daughter. I thought that was too much for my stepdaughter. I stayed in contact with her, and after a few weeks, my stepdaughter sent me a wedding invitation. I got to say, I felt a little hesitant thinking about my wife's reaction, but my stepdaughter told me she felt hurt and alone as her wedding approaches when she is supposed to be happy and excited. She even cried when she spoke with me on the phone last week. My wife found out and lashed out at me because the invitation had my name only and berated me for wanting to go support my stepdaughter and was upset that her daughter ignored her and didn't even call her to invite her to the wedding. I flat out told my wife she should have handled the situation better instead of driving her daughter away like that. But my wife got upset and accused me of supporting my stepdaughter's callousness and selfishness and told me not to go as long as she isn't going. I called her unreasonable, and clearly she's mad at me for not calling my stepdaughter and berating her for not inviting her mother after she disowned her. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Why are you with her? She sounds awful. If she treats her daughter this way, I can only imagine how she is to everyone every day. Yeah, sounds like your wife might be the reason why your stepdaughter was so depressed. That's kind of horrible that she'd ask you to essentially disown her too. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I'm having a hard time understanding why you're with your wife. She sounds awful. She needs to understand that her daughter is an adult, and this is her decision to make, whether it's a mistake or not. Crushing her daughter like that was cruel. I really hope you go to the wedding and support her. Sounds like you're the only supportive parent figure she has in her life. I really get the feeling that Opie's wife is in pain. Opie didn't go into detail as to why the divorce hurt his stepdaughter so much. But if she wasn't hurt by her parents splitting up, then my next guess would be that ex-husband was a bad person, or else the divorce was messy and caused a lot of fallout. We always think of children as being hurt the worst by this because they often don't have the emotional coping tools. But I wouldn't be surprised if Opie's wife was also traumatized and is just better at hiding it. Opie might consider asking his wife to do couples therapy after this. I kind of think that her rejection of her daughter is really her trying to reject her past self, or what she sees as a reflection of it. Not the a-hole. It's not that your wife doesn't know that her attitude is what led her to not being invited. You just stated plain facts, and it's quite remarkable for your mental stability that you're managing to get along with someone this abusive and manipulative. You're right. Now the issue is that she doesn't want me to go to the wedding. I gave my stepdaughter my word, and not attending would ruin my relationship with my stepdaughter. I think my wife is putting too much pressure on me and expecting to ruin my relationship with my stepdaughter just like she did, and sees nothing wrong with that. Well, you're not her puppet. She can't use a grown man to further manipulate her daughter into guilt trips and conditional affection. This can be a good occasion to fully discover the colors of your wife. It can turn out to be quite an overwhelming reality check, but better be prepared and get to know what she becomes when she doesn't get it her way. Plus, the relationship with your wife could go south at some point, but the bond with your stepdaughter likely never will. Now for the next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for inviting my dad's girlfriend over my real mom to spend a day with me? Original story. My 17 female parents got divorced 6 years ago. My mom quickly remarried and my dad has been seeing his new girlfriend for nearly 2 years now. I now live at mom's house for 2 weeks, then switch over to dad's house for the next 2 weeks. My relationship with my mom has always been difficult. I always felt like my mom wished for a more girly daughter, so we could do classical mother-daughter activities together. But I'm simply not that person my mom wants me to be. I've always been more tomboyish and been into sports, especially tennis, since I was a little girl, something my mom never truly understood or made an effort to be interested in. As a result, my mom and I never had a close mother-daughter relationship I feel like my mom wished for us to have. Now, my relationship with my dad has been the polar opposite. My dad and I always got along great, and I have always been a daddy's girl. But when my dad introduced me to his new girlfriend, Julia, I instantly disliked her. My younger me thought she was stealing my dad from me, her being relatively young, 27 when they began dating, and how I unfairly stereotyped her at first, vapid pretty girl, certainly didn't make me like her either. But my younger me misjudged her, and she's honestly pretty great. She always supported me, showed an interest in my passions, showed up to my tennis matches, something my mom didn't bother to do, and has been a great person all around. I'm now ashamed to admit this, but I didn't recognize this until 3 months ago and have been acting pretty horrible towards her before that. The problem. Second last weekend, I had a tennis tournament where I got second place. For the second place, I won a spa day for me and a guest. I decided to invite Julia, my dad's girlfriend, to thank her for supporting me and for dealing with my horrible behavior. You don't believe how happy she was when I invited her. But when I returned to my mom's place on Sunday evening, my mom kind of assumed I would invite her as my guest for the spa day. She seemed to really look forward to it. When I awkwardly told her that I already invited Julia, she was disappointed and sad. Since then, she has acted downcast and moody, and we haven't really talked. I tried to explain the situation to her, but she won't listen. Now I feel horrible. I feel like really hurt my mom. And I feel like I chose Julia over her. Am I the a-hole for inviting my dad's girlfriend over my mom to spend the day with me? Now for the top comments before the update. No a-holes here. It was certainly your choice to invite whoever you wanted. It is unfortunate this major olive branch to Julia hurt your mother. I understand why your mom would be sad, but hopefully you'll both be able to move past it. It could be a good opportunity for a deeper conversation about how you appreciate her and wish you shared more common interests, or that she'd take more of an interest in your activities and passions. Congrats on placing an attorney. Her mother, though, is an a-hole. She was never supportive of Opie's tournaments, wouldn't even show up, and now is sulky because even if she wasn't there, she wants to go to the spa? No. No a-holes here, but I can definitely see how this would have hurt your mother. You say she likes girly things, and here's a girly thing, but you didn't want to share it with her. Sit down with your mom, tell her you noticed she's hurt, and you did not intend that. You feel awful, and explain that you invited Julia as an apology of sorts to make up for being so awful to her for so long. Then let your mom know that you would really love to have a special mother-daughter spa day just with her. I can definitely see how this would have hurt your mother. You say she likes girly things, and here's a girly thing, but you didn't want to share it with her. I didn't think of it that way, but you're right. To my mom, it probably feels like Julia and I robbed her of exactly the type of mother-daughter experience she always wanted. Then let your mom know that you would really love to have a special mother-daughter spa day just with her. I will do that. Can you give us an update after the talk? Curious and hopeful. I will post an update once I talk to my mom. And now for the update. Sorry for the late update, it has been a busy 2 weeks. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to read and reply to my post. I have read every response and I appreciate all the input. I have been putting off talking to my mom until Sunday a week ago when I finally found a good opportunity to talk to her. I told my mom that I love her, that I didn't intend to hurt her by inviting Julia, and that I feel terrible for hurting her. I also explained to her why I invited Julia. This time, she seemed to listen, and reassured her that me inviting Julia doesn't mean we can't have our own spa day or that I chose Julia over her, because she is still my mom and I always love her. Then I showed her the websites of some spa places I had looked up beforehand and offered to pay for part of the costs. I know some people advised me against it, but I think it's a small but important gesture to show my mom how much she means to me. My mom seemed really excited to go to one of them with me and said I wouldn't have to pay a cent. Then came the hard part for me. I told my mom that I feel like she never supported me in my interests, and it hurts me that she can't even be bothered to show up to my tennis matches. I also expressed my feelings that I always felt like she wished for a more girly daughter, and how this hurt me. At first, my mom got pretty defensive. She tried to deny it, but I was adamant, and in the end, when she saw how important this was for me, she apologized and promised to improve. Later at dinner, my mom asked me if I would like to go to a nearby climbing park with her and my stepdad in the future. I instantly agreed and was so happy because going to a climbing park isn't something my mom would normally suggest. I feel like it means she genuinely listened to me and tries to truly improve our relationship. It has been a week now since I talked to my mom, and I'm in good spirits as I hope our relationship will improve. I'm also hopeful we find our own mother-daughter thing in the future. Thanks again, Reddit, for your input. Now for the closing comments. I feel like it means she genuinely listened to me and tries to truly improve our relationship. It really sounds like it. It seems your mom is showing you she meant her apology. She made a promise to try and now is acting on that promise. Good on you for approaching her and even having a suggestion ready and standing firm. It's natural she got defensive at first, but her dropping it not only shows she acknowledged this was important to you, but showed a part of her humility. She realized she had done something wrong, and then her words and later actions that followed reflect on how she does want to work on your relationship. Her relationship with her daughter is more important than her being right or sticking to a neat image, which is such a nice break to read compared to what's normally around Reddit with parental relationships. Healthy communication for the win, people. The only way to end it is to go through it. Your comment is spot on. Opie had to sit through her mom being defensive and hold her ground to get her point across. Healthy communication isn't easy, but it's worth it. Exactly. Many things are tough but worth it. I give props to Opie for sticking with her point, and her mom for realizing that active change is more important than defending her past actions. It sucks and it's hard to realize you're not perfect, and how you've been doing things for years has been negatively affecting someone you love. The fact that by dinner, Opie's mom had already taken action to improve things going forward, that's what a good person/mom should do. She didn't dwell on the discussion or go into a woe is me stance, but immediately took action in a manner which would be meaningful to Opie and a positive step in their relationship consequently. Maybe I've been on Reddit too much today and read too many negative stories, but this really did give me, yay, faith in humanity feels. What a lovely update. I think you're taking the right steps to improve your relationship with both your mom and Julia. The instant acceptance of the climbing park invitation was probably encouraging as well. My day is a little brighter for this. Yeah, this was heartwarming as heck, especially, I know some people advised me against it, but I think it's a small but important gesture to show my mom how much she means to me. Go with your gut. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.